Welcome to the Brookhaven Circle, a podcast to celebrate and explore the business community of Brookhaven Circle in Memphis, Tennessee. While Brookhaven Circle is known for its many restaurants, you'll find a lot more than good eating on the Circle, where many service and retail entrepreneurs have set up shop. Don't forget to subscribe to the Brookhaven Circle on whatever platform you listen or watch your podcast on. Just search the Brookhaven Circle and hit that subscribe button. The Brookhaven Circle is sponsored by V2 Media. I'm Mark Thompson. Now let's meet the Brookhaven Circle business community. Welcome to the Brookhaven Circle podcast, and welcome to Melanie Bland, who is the owner of the Myers Commercial Real Estate Company. Mm-hmm. So, Melanie, tell me a little bit about your journey and how you got into commercial real estate.
Okay, well, I started working for my dad, and when I was in college, I went to Memphis University in Jackson, Tennessee, and I started working with him through the summers in college, and then once I got out, I worked with him until I found a real job, and that real job never came to fruition. And so what happened is I ended up, it was coming up on his, I want to say like his 20th or so anniversary in the business. And so as kind of a surprise and homage to him, I got my real estate license. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just try this thing out. And so he was really surprised, really excited. And I started working. I obviously knew a lot about that. And I grew up knowing about real estate. I mean, I would ask him all the questions like, what kind of big deals are you working on? What kind of little deals are you working on? Like that different thing, even when I was little. And so anyway, I started off, my first listing was this second floor office over on Summer Avenue. It looked like the 1970s in there, shag carpet, wood paneling, the whole bit, tiny office suites. And that was kind of the first listing that I ever took on. And so I worked for him. I worked for him all, I've worked for him my whole life during that time. He, around 2014, decided to just kind of pull back. And at that point, we were starting to come out of the last recession, and we had scaled down our office quite a bit, where it was just me and him in a room about this size. And he would just kind of didn't come into the offices very often. If anybody called, he would say, just call Melanie. And that was kind of his version of retirement. And then in 2016, he unfortunately passed away. And I had already been in preparations to get my principal broker's license. So I just had to take the test, and then I took it over from there. So that's how I got here.
So if you had a few knowledge nuggets to share that your dad taught you in the business, what would those be?
Oh, there's so many. And I mean, they still come out every single day, I'm trying to think of a few that we've talked about. Most recently in our office, we'll get a lot of people who are eager to, get a lease signed. So eager that they're ready to just bring me money tomorrow, and that he, would always tell us is the first indication that they're not experienced enough to make a deal with in the first place. And
so beware of the stacks of cash.
Yeah, exactly. Well, especially that, yeah. And then there is, like I said, there's just so many things that I still impart. One of the things we talked about, this just happened recently, is we had done a lease with two people who were partners. And he used to always tell me the worst thing I ever want to hear on a phone call is let me check with my partner, because that inevitably it led to one of two things: either the deal wasn't going to go through, or you didn't want it to go through. Yeah. So,
yeah, interesting. So, what are some of the specifics that a commercial real estate company does? What if I know nothing about real estate, which I don't, very little. Tell me what a commercial real estate company does.
Well, so we are we are the springboard for almost every other networking business you could have. When you're in like a networking group, people always have challenges referring back to us because we really are the thing that starts everything. And so when somebody is looking to open a new business, they come to us, and we either help them find their next location, or we have landlords that come to us and say, look, we have a vacancy here, or our tenant just left, or I just built this building, or I just bought this building, and I need you to find somebody to rent it for me. Or we'll sell shopping centers, or we'll sell individual buildings.
Okay. So that kind of leads me to the next question is what sort of properties do you typically handle?
So our specialty is what in real estate, there's A, B, and C class. And we specialize in B and C class property. So kind of some of the stuff that's off the beaten path, or maybe in, just more neglected areas, or a lot of different places that you don't think about when you think about Poplar Avenue or something like that. It doesn't mean that we don't do anything there. It just means that what I do well is being able to filter through the right amount of callers to see who's going to be a good prospect, somebody who's going to pay their rent, who's going to have a successful business, and is going to be a good fit for the landlord and the good fit for the tenant.
Pay their rent. Like those guys downstairs. Pay. In complete transparency, yes, we are one of the renters.
And fantastic
for
ones
Melanie.
at that.
And by gosh, tell Hazel, write the check.
Well, and that's actually very unique, is it? So, I don't own most of the property that you see my signs on. So many people call, and they'll call for all types of reasons, like, trash has been dumped on this property, or they have a pothole in the parking lot, and they call me, and they think I'm the one who actually owns it because my name is on the sign, but I'm just the lowly leasing agent is what I tell them. So it's very rare that you'll see my sign and I'll have some ownership in the property.
Right. And we love this property.
We love it too.
It's a great location. We like Brookhaven Circle.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So talk to me about the move over to Brookhaven Circle,
Yeah.
which y'all made, the end of 2019 or early 2020?
Yeah, so I was actually doing some of my continuing education, and for my real estate license, you constantly have to be taking classes and things like that. And so I'd gone to one that was, I cannot remember the exact name of it, but the idea was like, it was especially for principal brokers, and it was about building your business and different things like that. And it just kind of came over me that, like, I've been gifted this legacy that I get to work in every single day. And they're really, there's no guarantee that my children will take it over. I mean, there are some days where I don't wish that on them at all. And, but, the thought was there should be something behind it, if it's, to truly make it remarkable. Because what my dad created, it wasn't amazing. I mean, he is still beloved by so many people. And so I was like, we really need to own our own building. And this one had been on the market for a long time. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make them an offer and see what happens. It was actually Andy and I's first purchase other than our home. And it has been so incredible. I just love it here. I love the way the building sets up. I love you guys. I love the location. I love the sunshine just coming in every single day.
You get a great sunrise.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. And you and I are often the first ones in to this building. And Joey
Yep.
behind the camera over there, we get to see the sunrise on a good day.
Well, and most people are going to start to see it here soon because as the days start to get shorter.
So give us just a minute, and we're going to be right back. Back with Melanie Bland of Myers Commercial Real Estate. And Melanie, you were talking about the location. Brookhaven Circle is just central, and it's close to everything. Not to mention you've got any number of restaurants and other retail right around us. So I know that a lot of that went into our decision to move here. I'm assuming the same for you.
Well, our biggest, so we've always been on Poplar Avenue. In fact, one of the only few things that was a drawback is that my father has always had a Poplar Avenue address, or he did. And, this obviously is the next best thing. But what's most important is that we be able to be anywhere in the city in 15 minutes. And so without, taking into consideration like Collierville, Arlington, Lakeland, which is not maybe 20 minutes. I mean, we can get anywhere in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So, if not less.
No, it's close to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And our Bartlett location and the warehouse still is way out there. Way out there.
Yeah.
So, talk to me for a minute, if you would, about what have been some of your most interesting listings or properties? Something unusual other than the shag carpet one. Now that sounded fun already.
Well, they all come with their own specific nuances. I will say we've had a couple different places. Like, for instance, tenants will just leave in the middle of the night. They'll just pack up their stuff and they're literally gone. And one time we had this bar out on Macon. It used to be like the Eagle's Nest. I don't know if you remember that, but
I do.
Anyway, they had just completely left. Like, it almost like they had served people that night, and then that was the last day they were going to lock their doors, and they're gone. I mean, drinks half filled, a bar stocked with liquor, different things like that. We also had this one tenant one time. He had a restaurant. Restaurants either do well or don't do well, and people give their heart and soul to those things. And when they don't do well, they typically like to take it out on the landlord. And so, for instance, one time we had a tenant, and he had a restaurant that he had put a ton of money into, and he just left in the middle of the night, and he turned the utilities off, and there was huge hunks of meat all in the freezer everywhere. So it's
great.
Yeah.
You would think that somebody would want to take that with them.
Mm-mm.
No.
Nope. Because they, like I said, they want to find somebody to blame, because they can't blame themselves, which is just kind of human nature. But actually I probably spend, I've been doing this for almost 25 years, and I would say I've talked to more people out of going into the restaurant business than I've ever put into the restaurant business, because we get tons of calls every single day. I've got this great recipe. I know it's going to be very successful.
Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And that restaurant business is long hours. It's a hard business, and there's a lot of competition.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you might have just the right recipe, but if you're not, it's a convergence of things that have to happen to make that work.
Yeah. And most people aren't willing to do all of them that it takes to make it happen, or don't know how to do them all. No, they don't. They can maybe great cooks, but that's different than running a business. Okay. So off camera, we talked for a minute about maybe something that would be a little funny or unusual that might have happened. So yesterday I was on my way to an appointment, and the property that we were leasing is kind of like off of Covington Pike. So it's an area that serves a lot of automotive repair places and things like that. And it's a gentleman that wanted to put a tow yard in there. And he called me on my way and said that he was going to have to cancel because his tow truck had just gotten stolen.
Who's going to steal a tow truck?
My question is, well, not only that, but what are you going to do with it?
That would seem to be hard to hide.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You never know.
You don't ever know. You don't ever know.
Talk to me about some of your biggest challenges as a business owner and in the real estate business.
I think one of our biggest challenges right now is trying to keep our marketing position filled. The idea of like being able to like get all our listings up and keep flyers and websites and all this other stuff updated. And it seems to me, I've talked to a lot of my cohorts in and around the real estate world, and they all have kind of a similar issue of just trying to find somebody who wants to, plug in all these pictures, create all these maps and different things like that. So I would say that has kind of been the challenge. We've had a couple different people in there, and then most recently, obviously, the whole real estate world is just challenged by the interest rates at the moment. So I will say I feel like it's getting a little bit better in the sense that most people are kind of they realize that these interest rates aren't going away and that we will never be back to like pandemic interest rates. Yeah. And so they are starting to make moves, but there's also still a lot of people out there that are waiting for some crash.
Yeah. We're not waiting on a crash.
No. I will tell you this, if you're waiting on it, it's not in the pipeline as of right now.
No.
In fact, they I saw this thing last week, where they're saying that between Beyonce and Taylor Swift and the Barbie movie that they successfully pulled America out of a recession.
Way to go, Barbie. Way to go, Ken.
Yeah.
Well, and Taylor.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Taylor.
Sure. So if someone is interested and needs someone who knows the drill, knows the business in commercial real estate, how would they find you?
Well, they can always call me. The office is 901-761-5595, or my cell phone, which is 901-351-5595. Our website is Myers, MYERSCRE.com, and you should be able to get this anyway. Or you can come see us and Mark at Brookhaven and just knock on our door.
772.
771. You're 773. I'm 771.
Oh, we're 771.
Oh, no, we're 773. Y'all are 771. Sorry.
Okay, fair enough. We know the building.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just take the first floor. You go upstairs.
Got it.
That's funny, though, because we do get mail all the time that is, it happens.
We always get mail from the dentist's office.
Really?
All the time.
Interesting.
Yes.
Because that's different.
It is.
Well, Melanie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Happy to have you on the Brookhaven Circle podcast. So if you like this podcast, please subscribe. New episodes come out every Tuesday. And please leave commentary, anything that maybe if there's something particular you'd like to see, fill out a comment. Just be kind to the host because he needs all the help he can get. Thank you, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for joining us on the Brookhaven Circle. Please subscribe to our podcast and send us any questions or comments you have. The Brookhaven Circle is produced by V2 Media, a part of the business community on Brookhaven Circle.